Whiteside. He just seems to be such a factor when he's out there.
Yeah, he's really. I mean, he's really a factor defensively in the paint, and then offensively, he's been playing great. Rolling to the rim, shooting his jump hook. He's made mid-range shots at a kind of a floater / runner from about 12 feet late in the Warriors game. So he's a good player. Another guy that's a really good player with size. They're coming him off they're bringing him off the bench, which is certainly hasn't hindered his numbers by any means. He's playing at a high level.
Is Jonas ready to go, Brad?
Jonas will play.
Coach, I know you're playing one at a time. Does this have a playoff feel at all in terms of spots in the standings and stuff like that?
You know, I think there's so many games left that all that stuff will iron itself out. I think you have to focus on playing good basketball. Certainly our guys are well aware that we're not just playing a good basketball team, we're playing a good, you know, a group that always has played hard and is really well coached. So, I mean, they've got a good culture about them, they've got a good way about them. So, you know, we're going to have to play well regardless if this is late in the season or in November against these guys. And they've come in here the last 2 times last year and handled us pretty good.
Is there ever a point in the season where you start to notice the standings a little more?
You know, I think we're all aware, Jay. I just think it's not relevant to play in the next possession. So the moment, you know, I don't really do a lot of talking about that. I mean, obviously we want to play well against everybody, and certainly your senses are heightened against the better teams around. But every team in this league is capable of beating the other badly on a given night, and so that's why you just always have to be good. You always have to play well. So it's really, to me, about the next possession. And, you know, I think if you get too far out of that, then you're always looking for the next thing to motivate on instead of just doing your job as well as you can.
What's your relationship like with Spoelstra?
I don't know him all that well. I mean, I've obviously met him in a couple of the coaches' meetings and seen him at the summer leagues and those type of things real briefly, but I haven't spent a lot of time with him. I'm really impressed by him and have been since he, you know, since I got a chance to first watch his teams play. I didn't know him when he was a video guy in his early years or an assistant in his early years either.
Is he kind of a role model for younger coaches that he kind of, you know?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job, and he always does it with a, you know, he seems to be a real even keel personality. Like I said, his teams play exceptionally hard. They're very consistent in how they're prepared and how they're coached, and you know, he's done a great job. Obviously, they've had the 2 championship years, the 2 other finals years, but I think this year he's doing, you know, as good of a job as any, because he's really he's balancing guys in and out of the lineup, and they just continue to produce.
Chris Bosh sidelined recently. Justice Winslow's role has really been elevated. What do you think about his overall impact with the Heat?
Well, I think it allows them, you know, his size and strength allows him to play, quote, small. It's not that small, really, when you have him and Luol out there, because those guys can match up with a lot of force in the league, especially the way the league is going. So they use those guys in a variety of ways. They'll shift both of those guys around, and it makes it difficult. I mean, they bring different skill sets to the table, but they're both very effective.
Brad, they're getting significantly more shots up now than earlier this season. When you look at them now, what's been the key to them being able to do that and do it more consistently?
Well, I think obviously transition becomes an emphasis depending on how you're playing and who you have on the floor and those type of things. And you know, I think one of the differences between probably now and as we look at him and earlier on in the year is Dragic was more finding himself at the start of the year, and he's played really well as of late, at least in the games that I've watched. And you know, his ability to push tempo, his ability to draw attention in transition and in middle pick and rolls and in the half court just opens things up for everybody else. And you know, that's the same with a lot of guys, but Dragic, you know, has always been a good transition player. And that, you know, anything that you can do to open things up for Wade and give Wade a little bit more flexibility when he catches it, you know, that helps. And Wade's playing as well as I've seen in 2.5 years I've been in the league.
Right, with the buyout market starting to kind of clear up, is there any more clarity on your end about how you guys might move forward, or if you might move forward?
Same discussion as we had 3 or 4 days ago, but nothing No, there's been no real talk from our end.
Obviously, with situational basketball, occasionally you guys have used hack a shack on the opponent. Do you game plan ahead, like in the event if a team ever tries to hack Amir Johnson, shooting around 55% from the free throw line, or do you just play it by ear if that ever happens?
Well, we have an idea of what we do, but you know, then it kind of depends on how we manage that and handle that as a team. You know, it's happened once or twice to us this year already with him, and you know, he made 1 of 2 when he went to the line, which is, you know, he's slightly above that from an average standpoint, but he's been a better free throw shooter than that most of his last few years. So, you know, I think as you're looking at that, at least from our end, we're not looking at it just from, okay, he shot, you know, 30 free throws on the whole season. Are we going to hack him? We're looking at it from what's he done the last 5 or 6 years, generally.
Brad, I know you said that D. Wade's playing as well as you've seen him in 2.5 years. Is he playing any differently?
No, I mean, I think the biggest thing is he's got a lot on his plate, and as far as he's trying to make plays in pick and roll, he's been very aggressive in that. He's been shooting it well in the games that I've watched. He actually obviously can post up smaller guys and is one of the better back to the basket players in the whole NBA. And then he just, you know, he's not scared of big moments, and that comes through loud and clear in every game you watch. And you know, obviously he's one of the better, has had one of the better careers in the NBA of the active players that are playing now, and you know, he's a handful.